Hello, everybody. I want to first and foremost say thank you so much for taking your time to basically listen to my tutorial on how to fill out an LLC in the state of Florida. I just want to first and foremost say that I am not an attorney. I'm not a licensed attorney. I'm just basically explaining to you my process and how I've been able to file an LLC without an attorney, and it's been successful 100% of the time that I've done it. Thank you.
Okay, hello everybody. So to begin the filing information, you basically want to put the date that you actually are filling out this application. And ideally, if you are going to be filling out this application with multiple people, have everybody there. Um, if not, if you're by yourself, you don't have to worry about that. But I would highly recommend if you are a multi-member LLC to have everybody with you while you're doing this. So the effective date is the date that you want to fill this out, which is why I have the 6th. Today's the 6th of January 2020. Happy New Year's, by the way, once again. And the filing fee is $125. So now, as you can see here, you can actually check off the certificate of status or certified copy. Essentially, the certificate of status lets you know or lets other people know if your LLC is in good standing, which means have they paid their annual fees by the end of the year or beginning of the year, I should say. And a certified copy is basically a certified copy of the email that you'll get once your LLC is actually approved. I really, if I wouldn't, I never actually check either of those off. There's not really any need, in my opinion. Even when you have to go to the bank and open a bank account, they could easily just go on sunbiz.org, search, and find your company there and see that you're in good standing, and that should be able to help you get your bank account open. I've never had any issues with that. So with your company name, as you can see, I just put just a random company name, Tim Jim Shack LLC. Make sure you have LLC after the name, or L period C period. It specifies that below, as you can see. But ideally, for the company name, just to give you a quick pointer, you want your company name to A, not be taken already, B, not be taken by any other means. And by that, I mean make sure all the social handles, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, anything else, is not taken. The email is not taken, as well as the domain is not taken. So those are very important because what you can do, an issue that you could actually run into is if you thought of a name of a company and you really like the name, and then you realize, oh man, the domain is taken. Now you're gonna have to either switch everything for the domain or like switch the email a little bit. And it's just a lot smoother if everything is coherent and is the same rather than you having to put on the email the Tim Jim Shack at gmail.com or um, the the Tim Jim Shack .com, um, things like that, because it just looks a little bit sloppy. So do your research on the company name. A good pointer is a app I've actually used in the past. It's called Name Checker. Essentially, what it does is you have it actually shows you the social handles, the email, and I believe the domain as well, in regards to a company name that you might be looking for. And it lets you know what's available is taken. If everything's available, you're good to go. If not, you might want to reconsider. But the company name is very important. So once you fill out the company name, you want to put the principal place of business. Um, Basically, put wherever the place of business the company is pretty self-explanatory. The mailing address, typically it's the same. If you have a PO box, I'd recommend you putting stuff in a PO box. Essentially, because if you are using your home address as the principal place of business, then you don't want your other mails to get mixed up within your company mail. So a PO box could be good for that. If not, just use your principal mailing address. It's not a big deal, but I would highly recommend a PO box. Now, a name of a registered agent. So basically, registered agent is Someone that's going to report to the department when you have to file things. The registered agent can be a member of the company, or it can be somebody, a third party, essentially. But the address cannot be the a PO box, as I mentioned before. So essentially, after that, you have to put the signature of the registered agent that you decide. Now, any provisions, any other provisions, I've actually never filled this out. I've never had to, and I never had any issues with it. So this is now going to talk about the notice of annual reporting. Like I mentioned earlier, by the end of the year and starting of every new year, you're going to have until January 1st to May 1st of every year to basically pay your dues, which is a little bit under $140, to remain active in the Department of Florida's eyes. If not, you either suffer a hefty late fee of about $400, or you just will remain inactive. So just keep up to date with that. If I were you, I'd put a reminder on your phone, just like, hey, I gotta pay the annual fee with to basically avoid any confusion or any problems in the future. So correspondence, name, and email. Essentially, this is going to be where everything's going to be emailed to you. It can be the owner. It could be the owner. It could be the company's email. It could be just a side email just for business documents from the government. Whatever you want to do. I just put an email for this sake. Like you mentioned before, you want to do electronic signature. Do that. Now it's going to go a little bit into more of the personnel in your company. So this part is actually very important. Now, in terms of LLC, you can either be a member LLC, member-based LLC, or a manager-based LLC. So basically, the difference is a manager can be a member, and members are typically the owners of the LLC. But a manager can also be a third-party entity that kind of makes the decisions of the companies for you. Now, the difference between that and a member-based LLC is the members, aka the owners, actually make all decisions for the company. They don't have a third party to do that. And lastly, you can also have a authorized representative or authorized person, authorized by either the members or the managers to make the decision to sign off documents for you for the articles of Florida to get things done for you. But ideally, if you are just a couple people, you might as well just put members because you are the owners. If you actually have a large group of individuals that are going to be a part of this LLC, then that's probably the time I might want to consider, you know, consulting with an attorney just for asset protection purposes, because there's going to be a lot of you. Um, and if you are actually a large group and you want to kind of third party this operation a to a different entity, you can do that as well. But essentially, let's say you're two or three people, you would want to put AMBR. That means the member. MGR means the manager, which could be a member or a third party. And then AP is authorized person. You would put the last name, first name, and then address once again. If there's multiple people, you'll do the same thing. And lastly, it's going to ask you to review everything. If you want to, click continue, and it's going to bring you over here. Basically, you got to look over everything, make sure everything is right. Once you do that, click continue. And then let's wait for it to load a little bit. Now it's going to tell you basically your document tracking number. This should be emailed to you as well, everything here. And after that, it's going to be asking for your charge. And then once you do that, this is where you either can do a credit card payment or you want to do through Sunbiz, eBiz. So that's basically it. Once you do this, you're going to actually get an email from the Florida articles of the government, and it's going to basically tell you like, hey, this is your LLC. You filed it this day. It's pretty effective. I would wait a couple weeks until you sign up for an EIN number, and then go to the bank as well. The EIN is pretty easy to do as well. Um, if you're interested, I can show you how to fill out an EIN as well, and just I'll attach a video next to this if you're interested in filling out how to do an EIN. So this kind of pretty much sums up how to file an LLC in the state of Florida. It's not that difficult. If you really wanted to do it very quickly, you can do it in about 1 or 2 minutes. But like I mentioned before, it does not take a attorney to do this. The only time I would maybe recommend an attorney if there's a lot of people at play in this LLC and you're very worried about asset protection. However, if it's just you or you and a couple people that you know very well, um, I would just make it member based, and then just fill it out. I never had any issues in the past, but I can't speak for everybody. But this is just my experience, and this has worked 100% of the time. And what you want to do though, once you complete this and have everything, you do want to make, you do actually want to book a meeting with an attorney to create an operating agreement. Essentially, the operating agreement is going to actually detail, hey, if there's multiple people in this LLC, this is what I'm going to be responsible for. This is what you're going to be responsible for. So there's no confusion. And it's going to detail like what people are supposed to do, if there's any conflict, how to handle it. If there's a majority rule on type things, and it goes very in depth. But that's very important if you are a multi-member LLC. Communication is key in this. So if you have any other questions, feel free to email me. I'm going to have my email attached below. And thank you so much for watching once again. And I'm going to, link the EIN, how to sign up for an EIN, in the bottom, and you can look at that because it's quite simple as well. Thank you once again. This is Carl David, and thanks for. Hey everybody. So once you actually filed your LLC and it is approved and everything, you can actually double check to see if it's actually active by going on Google, type in Sunbiz company search, and it should bring you to this page. And this is essentially how the banks would probably check to see if your company is actually active. And for this example, I'm just going to use my social media company. And I'm going to have a course about how to do a social media marketing company, social media marketing agency, excuse me. I think it's one of the best startups you can actually do, and I've done wonders with it, and I highly recommend if you're starting off with not a lot of cash. It's a great company. It's a great industry to get into. But type in the name of the company. I'm just going to use Fall Spike because that's the name of our company, and you click search now, and it's going to essentially tell you what companies are active and inactive. And as you can see, Follow Spike is active. So that's basically how you know if your company is currently active or not. Um, Now, once again, thank you for listening to my video. And if you are interested in learning how to do an EIN, feel free to watch my other videos, and as well as a trademark. I highly recommend once you actually start making sales to actually trademark your either your company name, your slogan, whatever is best for you. Trademark is very key in protection. It's definitely a lot more difficult to do than filing an LLC, but it's actually doable. Trademark definitely, if you're very worried, that's definitely more an attorney route if you need to, but it is going to cost you a couple thousand from what I understand. But I have done it myself, and it's been successful 100% of the time as well. And if you're very interested in how to trademark without an attorney, I am not an attorney, by the way, but I'm just going to, once again, kind of like this video, I will show you how I did it, and it worked. And feel free to look at that video. It's going to be extremely valuable for your company, and one of the most important things you can do to protect your company, to protect what you do, and to avoid illegal courses. There are people that do try to leech off of aspiring companies that are doing well. that just haven't had time to trademark it yet. But if you can do that, once you see some light in the tunnel and you're seeing like your processes, your systems are working, I would highly recommend to trademark it, to trademark the things that you're doing. And it's also not a short process. It takes about 5 to 6 months to get everything done, from what I remember. But it does last quite some time if you do the national trademark. So if you're interested, I'm going to make a video on that, and hopefully it's going to bring as much value as this. I'm very confident in that. But once again, thank you so much for your time. Feel free to leave some feedback to see what I can do better. And thank you once again. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Bye bye.